The attempts to defend Ben Carson's fitness to lead the Department of Housing and Urban Development have become increasingly irrational since it was announced that he would be the pick. Now, objectively, he is simply not qualified. He was a surgeon and he ran for president. He's written a book. He has not, however, done anything that should lead you to believe he's ready to run a federal department that employs between 8,000 and 9,000 people and has a budget of $47 billion every year. And so to explain why he's qualified, some conservatives who, like him, have had to make fairly ridiculous statements. And now, as people have attacked Ben Carson's fitness, they're going even farther. So Ted Lieu, a Democratic congressman from California, said this in reference to Ben Carson. Remember the famous commercial where a man is flying a helicopter and reveals he's not a pilot, but he did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night? Trump's nomination of Dr. Ben Carson to lead HUD reminds me of that commercial. Do you have any experience running a large federal agency or knowledge of housing and urban development? No, but I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night. And so David A. Clark, best sheriff in the nation, didn't like that. And he said this. For this Asian American to stoop to this kind of ugly race politics on behalf of the Democrat Party is reprehensible.
Is there something about the Holiday Inn that I don't know?
That was a series of commercials.
No, I know that. Like, what does it have to do with the race?
Representative
Lieu never mentioned race.
It has nothing to do with race. I did, however, find a reference to race. Not in Ted Lieu's thing, but in that tweet I just read you. For this Asian American? What does it matter that he's Asian American?
Why did you bring that up out of nowhere, David Clark?
What does that have to do with anything?
See, no, but conservatives, that's all they ever do is project, right? So it's projection to say, like, look at this Asian American bringing race into it, right? And second of all, they think liberals bring up race out of nowhere. Like, so when we show a stat that unarmed black men get shot disproportionately at much higher rates than unarmed white men, they go, what are you bringing race into it for? No, we're not. No, but that's a fact. And it's connected to a news story. We didn't bring it in. So, for example, when you say marijuana is consumed by blacks and whites at the same rate, but blacks are arrested at 4 times the rate, well, that goes to explain some of the criminal justice reform that's needed, et cetera. That's a fact, and that is relevant and pertinent to the story. We didn't bring race into it. That's what's causing the issue and helps you understand the problem at hand, right?
We're playing the reality card.
Yeah. Now, what David Clark is doing, he's a very conservative sheriff in Milwaukee. He loves Donald Trump, might be his Department of Homeland Security chief. Anyway, so what he's doing is race out of nowhere. Like, wait, you just did it. You brought race in and did not connect it to a story. There's no reason in the world you brought race in except Ben Carson is black. But just because someone's black doesn't mean you can't criticize him. No liberal actually says that.
We've never said anything about his race.
For example, David Clark, you're black. And we can't stand you.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think I've proven my case here.
Yeah.
So yeah, Mike Huckabee's tweet's my favorite.
Yeah. But before, can you stay on Cenk for a second? How funny is Ben Carson, like leering at him, like, "Oh, really, Cenk? Really?"
He does seem a bit skeptical.
He doesn't like you.
Yeah, that's the first time there's been a picture of him with his eyes open.
That's true. So, Governor, that's racist, Cenk. Why are you bringing race into it?
Now, if I said, all right, anyway, go ahead.
Okay. So, Mike Huckabee tweeted out, Ben Carson is first HUD secretary to have actually lived in government housing. Fancy Nancy Pelosi says he's not qualified. Is she racist or just dumb? So what we're seeing here is the glee from conservatives that they keep getting attacked year after year after year for being racist and bringing race into things where it doesn't belong. And they know that, and they hate that because they know they can't help himself. And so now they have a guy who happens to be black and a Republican conservative. And so they're just like, oh, we get to defend him by claiming racism, even if racism isn't there. They are so desperate for it. And it seems to be a trick I've noticed. I know I go into YouTube comments. I know that I shouldn't or whatever. But it seems to be a thing amongst conservatives and alt-white supremacists that they're so happy to just try to turn anything into racism now. So I did a video about the DAPL being shut down. And it was just a video where I was like thanking everybody for the work that they did to make it happen. And someone responded, that's racist against black oil company employees. I guess.
And you know, one of the water protectors in a video we did yesterday, when Jordan was interviewing her, referred to the pipeline as a black snake. Think about it.
I'm sorry, this little attempt at mental jujitsu doesn't actually work. You are racist, and we know that.
Okay, but we're leaving out the best part of
What's
the
that?
Huckabee quote. So he says, first HUD secretary, I've actually lived in government housing. Ben Carson didn't live in government housing.
Exactly, yeah.
He's just black.
So Armstrong Williams. That's terrible.
No, but that's why, like,
Yeah,
look, to be fair to Huckabee, apparently there was one article that said that he had.
Misquoted it.
And it was wrong.
Yes,
Okay.
Armstrong Williams said Monday that Mr. Carson had never lived in government housing. He tweeted this. Dr. Carson's mother worked 3 jobs at a time to keep them out of public housing, but he grew up around many who utilized housing programs. And many of those people who utilized housing programs have stayed at Holiday Inn Express.
And by the way, if they think that's the only qualification you need to be a cabinet secretary in charge of housing and urban development, all right, great. If you have a Democratic president next and he just says, "Oh no, this guy has no qualifications, but he lived in government housing," do you take that as good enough qualifications going forward?
No.
Of course, you're not going to accept that.
Mike Huckabee's trying to call someone racist. He looks at Ben Carson and he's just like, of course he lived in government housing. No, he didn't, you ass, you stupid ass. And while we're on the topic of the qualifications from Armstrong Williams, I once took a Flintstones vitamin, and so I would like to be considered for head of FDA. It's like they just come up with this BS.
I thought you were going to say the mayor of where the Flintstones live.
I will take that too. And the thing is, I've been attacked. I did a video about Ben Carson, how he's not qualified because he doesn't have the qualifications. Like, they like to think that heading up a department that has almost 10,000 employees is just like running like a Waffle House or something. It has significant requirements. And people have been tweeting me like, well, I mean, what do you want? Nobody's ever qualified for that stuff. But no, but you could be. You could have worked in government at the state level, at the local level. You could have done the things that naturally lead a person to gain the skills necessary to run a complicated bureaucracy and to administer government programs. There are actual steps you could take. Obama got mocked because he apparently had just been a community organizer. But that is important work, working with people and organizations, huge sums of money in some cases, actually being able to interface between those things. They mock the very qualifications they know their people don't have.
And finally, the last piece of projection here is whenever black conservatives get in any kind of trouble, they immediately pull the race card. So that's what they claim liberals do, but they do it every time. So when Clarence Thomas got into trouble during his confirmation hearings, what did he say? He said it was a high-tech lynching. So now Ben Carson is pointed out as having no qualifications. All of a sudden, David Clark comes in with racist, racist. So no, they don't hate the race card. They love the race card. They don't hate the victim complex. They love the victim complex. They just want to be the victims. Oh, you didn't say Merry Christmas to me. You oppressed me by saying Happy Holidays. I need a safe space. You want the same old mainstream media stuff?
Hell no!
I hear you, brother. That's why we got a whole new show on the Young Turks called Aggressive Progressive. Members get the whole show. Do it now. tytnetwork.com/join.